お写真だけ。
の方はもう見えてますね。
はい。そうなんですね。はい。一応スカイプでは見えないんですけど、
あ、これでいいかな。これで見えます。
あ、できました。はい。こんにちは。
こんにちは。今始まりました。
はい。Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you are joining us from Asia, good afternoon. If you're joining us from Europe or Africa, and good morning if you're joining us from the Americas. Welcome to Kenji Ojima's third international YouTube Live. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedules to come join us. Our last YouTube Live had over 1,000 views. Our first one had over 2,000 views last I checked. We are so happy that you are deciding again and again to come out and enjoy or spend an hour of learning with us. And my name is Robert. I will be your host and MC for the next hour of learning. And joining me, as always, is the world famous, amazing, unbelievable aligner orthodontist, Dr. Kenji Ojima. Hello, Kenji.
Hello. Hello, Robert. How about you today?
I am good. Thank you so much. Did you do a Japanese live stream just before this?
Yes, for my schedule today is 2 hours before. I had a YouTube live for the Japanese colleague, Japanese friend. After that, I lecture in online seminar for the small group. So the limitation in my attending my lecture.
Well, you are, as always, a very busy man. I'm always impressed by how much work you squeeze into the day. Every day, I feel I only have 24 hours, but for you, it seems like you have 36 hours in the day. Okay, well, today, of course, we are joining you in dark times. Many of us still cannot go to work. Many of our children still cannot go to school. And most of us are still unable to enjoy our lives in the way that we are used to. It looks like this situation may last for quite some time. And this might be the best time for you to sit down, relax in your own space, and learn at your own pace. And we hope that the content that we provide for you can help you fill this empty time with some productive learning. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, so today we have two very, very interesting topics. We're going to be talking about Gummy Smile and 3 incisor finish, a single anterior extraction. So, Kenji?
Yes?
Where are we going to start? What is our first case today?
Yes, this time is the third time for the robot and me collaboration. Then many of the friend and many of the colleague is a lot of the chat for the additional for our YouTube live. So that we are very exciting. Yes, for the very exciting. Because good for the relationship between us. This is a specialty time because normally if lecture time is we continue us talking all the day, sometimes 1 hour, 2 hours. But now easy to checking for your directory chart. Please give to us many of the question and ask to some tip. Then we are possible for the answer to your questions, right?
Absolutely. So today we only have 2 topics. We usually have 3. And we chose to only have 2 topics to give everyone more opportunities, more chances to ask their questions and give their comments. Right now, there are 36 people joining us live. If you have anything you want to ask Kenji, whether it's on the topic of the lecture, whether it's on a different topic, something about the world, something about orthodontics, something about his hairstyle, his clothes, whatever, we will answer any questions you have for us.
Exactly. So let's go. The first topic is extraction. Extraction case. Okay, here we go. So many of the time is everybody talk about the extraction is very difficult. I hope so. I think so. But if you understood what's behind for the aligner orthodontic biomechanics and what's behind attachment, if you understood everything, so your approach is more safety and your treatment for the aligner is more predictable. Okay. So today, first my topics is think about biomechanics for the aligners, how to place attachment. and how to avoid tipping movement without any tooth movement. Okay.
Yes. So in our last discussion on Wednesday, many of our viewing doctors asked us, do you focus on bodily movement? Do you move the root first? Do you move the crown first? How do you prevent tipping? So I think today's discussion is going to answer many of those questions in detail. So watch closely, and remember, if you have any questions, please ask.
Thank you. So how to prevent for the taping? It's very big for the issue, right? Then this case, 28 years old female patient. This patient problem is anterior clouding and severe overjet, and this patient with 41 lower anterior teeth root fracture. How we do? So this patient is, we have to think about one option is 3 incisors, okay? 3 incisor finish. Initially, this patient is like this situation. The both of side, the molar and the canine is class 1 relationship. And this patient chief complaint is a lower anterior clouding and just a little bit overjet. Then this patient is want to correct for the anterior teeth alignment and want to correct for the overjet and the better smiling. Then my planning is this. It's initially, it's normally we took for the fourth premolar extraction. It's more normally. It's a normal approach is extraction. We decide on select 4 premolars. But please have a look. This patient is a root fracture for this tooth. This tooth is 41. Because this patient is already done a root canal treatment is 10 years before. Then now just a little bit terrible situation, just a little bit pain. Then we have to check precisely from X-ray. This is an X-ray. It's already done for the root canal treatment like this. Then now this patient just a little bit for the just fracture, very small fracture. My interdisciplinary endodontist find it. Then so that we decide on how to approaching for this patient. As you can see, this patient just a little bit for the profile is not good. This patient want to be more good for the profile after orthodontic treatment. Want to more retraction anterior teeth. Then so that my planning is this. So we upper side is upper molar distalization and correct for the anterior teeth. And normally so that we take for the extraction for premolar tooth, but this patient is what is more better smiling, better approaching select anterior teeth extraction than space closing. And please have a look at this for the figure. If without any attachment, normally fourth one like this, insert aligners. How do we do? For the tooth is going to tipping like this.
Right, of course, yeah.
Then so the end of the treatment, space closing already, but the root is not a good situation, no bodily tooth movement. How we prevent like this situation? My prevent approach is this. Place on attachment. Attachment will be, how I say, control for the root bodily tooth movement, because fourth one, red arrow is fourth one, and the yellow arrow is fourth two. The fourth two red arrow is reaction force. This is support going to prevent tipping. This situation.
So for these, use vertical rectangular attachments in order to take advantage of both forces. I see. Okay.
So sometimes, if you select for the optimized attachment, very more smaller. But normally, like this situation, so I select for the rectangular attachment is more safety, because if sometime small optimized attachment falling down, maybe patients don't understood for the falling down attachment. At this time is how reaction the tooth maybe will be tipping. So that this is very important thing. So I select like this situation, I place on the rectangular attachment, then I explain for the patient, please watch carefully your attachment. If falling down, please calling my office, come to my office immediately, because this rectangular attachment is very important thing, prevent for the tipping the tooth movement. If tipping, then after that space closing, not good result, and not good for the smiling, not good for the situation, for the axis of the root. Then that is very important thing. Explain for the patient. Please have a look. This is easy to checking for the patient, easy to checking for my team. The rectangular attachment is a big size, then we can easy to checking how to control still there or not. This is for the initially for this patient tooth movement clean check, the space closing like this, and the tooth movement anterior teeth after that canine tooth movement, and the more control for the lower arch. After that, we retraction anterior teeth like this. Upper side is a molar is just a little bit distalization, and the aligner arch coordination after that anterior retraction. Then so that this is my planning and the clean check for this patient. Then started to tooth movement. Please have a look. This is procedures. Initially, like this situation, extraction for this patient tooth and place on the attachment, and started to the retraction and the space closing, and we have to precisely tooth movement like this, space closing almost. Please have a look. This is not tipping. This is very prevent for the tipping, very good for the bodily movement because placed on rectangular attachment. Then still continue for the almost space closing. Then we going to the closing for the root control. Then after that is a space closing and the root control, and this is a final situation for this patient. As you can see, this patient is lower anterior teeth is 3. This is a finishing style is 3 incisor, right? Then
I see.
No space black triangle here, and good for the axis for the lower anterior teeth. Then control anterior overjet. This is a final situation for this patient. Space closing anterior, lower anterior teeth, and the control anterior overjet for the upper teeth, and the alignment for the lower and the upper arch coordination. Then this is the end of the result. Then this is the face.
Nice.
The face is a midline correct, and smiling is good, and coordinate for the lip curve, and good for the E-line profile. This is
excellent. Great finish.
This is OPG and safe. Please have a look. This OPG is we can control for the good for the lower anterior tooth bodily movement. Then collect for overjet. This is a final situation for this patient. This is a comparison initial and the final. You can see whether we control upper teeth toe control and solution to anterior overjet. Now is this is the comparison panoramic X-ray. Then we done for the extraction for wisdom tooth and the extraction to lower anterior teeth. After orthodontic treatment, this patient is every single tooth is natural tooth. No, there a root canal treatment tooth. Okay.
Great.
Thank you. Then this is finally, so the comparison initial and the final. This is a face and good smiling and the correction for the profile and the space closing we achieve for the good alignment for the upper and the lowers. This is final situation for this patient. This is the end of the case 1.
Okay, this was once again an amazing case. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any comments or questions that you'd like to direct to Dr. Kenji about this case, please go ahead and use the live chat to do so. I'll start with a couple questions of my own. As you may or may not know, viewers, I am not myself an orthodontist, so many of the things that Kenji shows me are like magic. They're amazing to me. I don't understand how they're possible. So I have very simple questions. My first question is, you talked about attachments dropping off. You use a large rectangular attachment because it's easily visible. How often do your attachments detach on patients? What percentage of attachments would you say detach?
So the detach mean is a removed attachment?
So you said that the attachments drop during treatment sometimes, and you have the patients check to make sure they're not dropping. Does this happen often in your cases?
It's very nice question, Robert. That is very important thing. So initially, I started for the Invisalign system end of the year of the 2006. At this time, is not good procedure placed on the attachment. At this time, so many of the attachment easy to falling down, drop down. But after that, we are step by step we are more good for the procedure. Now is normally almost no drop down in the attachment. Sometimes
that's great. Do you have any? Go ahead, please.
Sometimes for the hit for the foot, so the ice cube. Sometimes at this time just a little bit drop down, but normally no problem.
Interesting. Do you have any advice for orthodontists who have trouble with attachments dropping down?
Yes. So the very important thing is teamwork. So today, I had 2 online seminar course. At this time for the specialty staff. So our staff course is 4 days continuous. At this time, I talk to the very important thing is not only orthodontist, it's very important thing education for the staff. Because short time, the procedure is good for the bonding for the attachment, but a long time is a blessing, it's just a little bit wet, not dry. That is not good procedure for the bonding for the attachment. Then easy to for drop down. The very important thing, so doctors understood what is attachment and procedure training for your team. That is very, very important.
Okay. Interesting. In English, we have a phrase that says, a chain is only as strong as the weakest link. And this means that all links in the chain must be strong in order to create a strong chain. So in your practice, you believe that everyone in your practice must have strong training in order to make a successful treatment. That is a very, very interesting philosophy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have some questions about our first case. Let's have a look. Our first question is from Yuan Yin, and Yuan Yin says, hello.
Thank you.
First of all, sorry. Metin Orhan said in Japanese, hello, and thank you again today for your lecture. Thank you very much for writing in Japanese. This makes us very happy.
Thank you, Orhan. Nice to meet you.
And okay, so
maybe
Yuan Yin says,
Orhan is
hello.
not Japanese for the friend, right? Maybe they're using for the automatic translation.
Maybe. Well, Orhan, your translation is excellent. So whatever program you're using, keep using it. Keep using it. Okay, so Yuan's question was, did you use any IPR on the upper front teeth?
Yes, sometime I do for the upper teeth because like this situation is the lower arch is more small. As you can see, extraction lower anterior teeth. Then I do IPR for the upper teeth. So when I do IPR, that is very important thing for me. Then my philosophy is that every time do IPR is finishing.
Okay. So in this case, in this 3 incisor finish, did you do IPR on this case as well?
Anterior teeth, yes.
How much did you do?
So the red 0.3 millimeter is 13223.
Okay. There you go. I hope that answers your question, Yuan. Thank you very much. Next, we have a question from Dr. Deborah Tiong. How much distalization did you prescribe in this case?
This case is a 2 millimeter upper molar distalization, the both of sides. The under 2 millimeter molar distalization is very predictable. It's a very safety tooth movement and very, we can control good for the position, good guidance, good contact.
Okay. And did this patient have wisdom teeth at the time of treatment?
Yes, for the initial time is a very easy way is extraction upper teeth, but this patient is still This patient is still,
Okay.
as you can see, this, so the X-ray is still there, is a wisdom teeth.
Okay.
Because this patient is, I think, just a little bit worry about it, upper molar distal, upper wisdom tooth extraction. But this
Okay.
patient done a lower wisdom tooth extraction already, but I think maybe just a little bit pregnant. I don't know, sorry. But
Okay.
planning,
Okay.
my planning is 1-2 extraction. But this patient
Okay.
is missed the timing, I think.
Okay. So in this case, you wanted to extract the wisdom tooth,
Yes.
but in the end, you did not extract it.
Exactly.
I see. Okay, great. Thank you very much for your question, Deborah. Wonderful. Next, we have a question from Martina. Is it possible for you to show us the staging for this case?
Staging. Okay, so let me think is next time I will show you for the staging. But the staging is not important thing because many of the doctor want to show is a staging. Okay, back to the clean check. It's better way is look for the clean check is more safe because this is upper teeth. Please watch carefully. Is upper molar distalization and the upper side arch is expansion like this, okay? At the same time is a retraction anterior teeth. But a very important thing, now I told you, very important thing like this situation, lower anterior teeth retraction first, then upper anterior teeth retraction. If opposite, maybe easy to premature contact here, then happen to posterior open bite. Okay, do you understood? Very important thing is that we have to control lower anterior teeth first. After that, anterior teeth retraction. If same time, maybe just a little bit happen posterior open bite because anterior teeth already hit premature contact.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Yes. For our next conversation, maybe we'll talk a bit more about staging, but I hope that this was a good enough answer for you. Thank you very much, Martina. Next question from Dr. Samet. So we know that you used the rectangular attachment and the action force and the counter force to prevent tipping. Did you use any anti-tip to prevent tipping in the extraction space in this case?
Yes, sometimes. So the very important
Okay.
thing how we do is prevent for the tipping. So that this very easy, simple way is placed on the attachment. And the second one is that we can control clean check. So the normally like this very nice question, Semet very nice.
Semet, yes.
Normally I control so the anti-tipping tooth movement 2 degrees like this. 2 degree I control on clean check. The end of the final staging. If needed, do overcorrection 2 degrees. But if don't need it, don't need it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kenji. And thank you for your wonderful question, Samet. Okay, next we're going back to Dr. Metin Orhan, this time speaking in English. Thank you very much. Dr. Orhan's question is, I saw in the palatal surface of the upper anterior teeth some enamel elevations at the proximal contacts. Did you do something on these elevations?
Sometimes yes, but sometimes no. Not for every single case.
Okay. In this case, did you do something?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next, we have a question from Mattia Ferrasini.
Thank you.
Hello, Mattia. Thank you for joining us. And if you're new to us, and I think you might be, make sure that you hit that subscribe and like button below our video. Please help us grow our channel. Thank you very much. Mattia asks, if some attachment touch the antagonist arch during the clin check, do you change the position or do you leave it?
Very nice
Anterior
question.
arch.
So that means we have to choose for the attachment position, right? This
Right.
is what the multi question is. So very important thing,
That's what I think, yeah.
my rule is a very important thing is keep the distance so the from aligner margin to over 2 millimeters. If very closer, it's an aligner, it cannot grip for the teeth because the plastic material is very soft. So that all the time I think is more precisely tooth control possible, have to need keep the distance from aligner margin over 2 millimeters. This teeth 1, 2, 2, 2 is I place on the attachment. At this time, sometime you can see 1, 2, 2, 2 is placed on rectangular attachment like this. Then keep the distance over 2 millimeters. Then so the aligner is gripping 1, 2, 2, 2, then good tooth movement. Very nice question.
Very nice. Excellent. Thank you. All right. Next, Dr. Amit Sajdeva
Thank you.
asks us, what is the tendency for black triangle in lower incisor cases?
Mm-hmm. So many of the patients, a very nice question, very important thing. Many of the patients want to change or avoid black triangle. That because the black triangle is not good for the brushing and looks very, more aging. That nobody wants a black triangle. Please have a look at this patient clean check. This patient clean check is, okay, back to the clean check, like this. Control for the space closing, after that just a little bit more contact. Do you understood? Hit for the place here, after that just a little bit overcorrection. Hit for the space closing, then I create additional aligner, few aligner, just a little bit overcorrection. Then so that we are more pushing more tightly. Then if checking precisely, if needed plus IPR, then more space closing. If don't need it, finish here. So if you create a clean check, so they are like this situation, plus 3 or 5 additional aligners, passive aligner or additional aligners. Then at this time, just a little bit overcorrection, order to overcorrection, like this, okay? But if don't need it, no use this aligner because they're already good for the contact, no black triangle. But if you want more, just a little bit more tightly, you can use more few additional aligner. At this time, just a little bit. My rule is IPR is finishing. Now you done for the just a little bit IPR, so the between 1, 2, and 2, 1. 4, 1, 4, 2, and 3, 1. Then more tightly space closing. You can do more solution for the disappear to black triangle.
Okay. Thank you for your answer, Kenji. And more importantly, thank you for your question, Dr. Amit. Next, we have a comment from a Dr. Konstantinos who says, "Hello, Dr. Ojima. Very interesting. The movement in the lower incisors is both coronal and at the root. That is to say, simultaneous or divided. Some coronal and then radical aligners. Thank you."
Thank you.
Okay. Great. Apparently, Dr. Orhan has said that he is from Turkey and a friend of the Japanese. That's great. Thank you, Dr. Orhan. Okay. We have a question from Dr. Ahmed Karaman, who says, "Thank you very much. Firstly, why don't you think about premolar extraction in this case?"
Yes, for the very nice question, I already told you for the normally, so that I do fast premolar extraction like this. But this patient is want to stay, don't want for the any extraction teeth for this patient. So my suggestion is normally is I show you for the last my YouTube channel and the 2 times before YouTube channel 2, I do the many of the case for premolar extraction. But this patient is just a little bit unusually. This patient is lower fast anterior teeth is a root fracture. This is a no long-term stability. Then so how we can do, so this patient is don't want any extraction. Initially, only no extraction, upper molar distalization, then correct. But this patient, I explain, no long stability, low anterior teeth, then I extraction by planning, then space closing, then we can do retraction anterior teeth. This is my reason. But so you are correct for the normally, so the based on cephalometric analysis, so IMPA and many of the analysis for premolar extraction is good. But some of the time, so the patient don't want any extraction approaching. So today I show you this case is an unusual case. Thank you.
Yes. I know that from our orthodontist friends in Europe, it is very common for patients in Europe to request non-extraction cases. So I'm sure that this is an approach that is interesting for a lot of our, especially Western European viewers. Okay, next we have a question from a returning viewer, Dr. Fiona Go. Thank you so much for joining us last time and asking a good question, and this time giving us another good question. Dr. Fiona's question is, by extracting a single lower incisor, do you have increased overjet during finishing due to the bolt-in discrepancy from the upper and lower arches?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sometimes yes. Then after that we do final situation, additional IPR, then finally we do detailing situation.
Okay, so Dr. Kenji manages this with IPR and detailing. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Fiona. I hope that answers your question. Next, I think we have enough time to take the next couple of questions, so let's take the next one. Our next question is from Dr. Bayram, who says, did you modify the attachment's angle for root movement, or is it parallel to the long axis for teeth?
Like this situation is a rectangular vertical attachment is more easy to control, and we can easy to checking the stay there or dropping down. So I love the rectangular attachment, but some of the case for the upper canine is a more, how I say, visually position. At this time, some for the ladies, women don't want for the rectangular attachment, but the lower anterior teeth is you can see the cover to the lip. This is no problem. Then we can think about which is more effective, more safety, how I say, more predictably tooth movement. Then I select rectangular attachment. Your question is very nice.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Dr. Bayram. Next, we have our last two questions on this topic before we move on. Next two questions are from the same viewer, from Boom Gaming. The first question, I believe you already answered earlier, was, can we distalize without extracting third molars in adults?
Yes, we think is every time watching carefully anatomical data. So that if for the stay there, so upper wisdom tooth, but we can do low upper molar distalization, especially my teenager patient. So 16 and 17, 18, at this time already wisdom tooth is started to eruption, but before extraction wisdom tooth, but we can do upper molar distalization. Okay, today and next for our session, I will show you teenager upper molar distalization and with wisdom tooth case.
Okay, and before we move on to the next case, let's take one last question from Boom Gaming. Is it better to use distal bevel horizontal vertical attachments to increase the shore area for aligners to push teeth? Is it better to use distal bevel horizontal vertical attachments?
It depends on is better. So it depends. So if you want more distal bevel is horizontally, sometimes it's better. But a very important thing, how we control more comfortable and more safety. So the initial time, it's a long time ago, so I place on the attachment all the tooth. All the tooth placed on the attachment because are more effective, more safety, more easy to tooth control everything. But the patient is very tough time. Very difficult to remove the aligners and easy to dropping down for some attachment. So now we think about which tooth is needed or not. That is very important thing. The select position of the tooth and which tooth needed or not. At this time, this is how I say, not too much, not too short. Is the best for the attachment we selected. But if you want additional bevel attachment, whatever you want.
Yeah, there's always a compromise to be made between the perfect treatment solution, the ideal treatment solution, and the solution that fits the patient best, right? We cannot look just at the teeth. We have to look at the treatment experience because quality of life is a very important motivator in successful treatments, right?
Exactly.
I think so. Okay, so Boom Gaming, thank you for your questions. I see, looking at your YouTube channel, that you play a lot of mobile games and that you stream them. I am also a mobile game fan, so maybe I will check out your YouTube channel and subscribe in the future. Thank you so much for joining us. And ladies and gentlemen, before we go on to our next case, I'd like to thank you for your wonderful participation. Your interaction in our live chat room is what makes this channel great. If you haven't already, make sure that you hit like and subscribe so that we can help grow our channel and you are notified at our next YouTube Live. And we can continue to enjoy learning together in these difficult times. All right, Dr. Kenji, what is our next case?
Okay, let's go. The next case is a gummy smile patient. This patient is a chief complaint is a gummy smile. Sometimes we do so using for the mini screw like this situation. Please have a look. We have the aligner. Then this patient like this is sometimes I use aligner intrusion, additional force, place on the mini screw here, then use elastic rubber band like this. So some of the time, in my team using a mini screw, then we planning more intrusion, upper teeth. Have a look this patient, okay? So my idea is aligner with mini screw is very good combination, very good, because aligner is very simple orthodontics for the two. Then the tart is very simple. Then just a little bit using for the elastic rubber band placed on the aligners, then good for the effective. Please have a look. This patient, 90 years old, male, then re-orthodontic treatment. This patient is a deep bite and gummy smile patient. This patient already done orthodontic treatment in the junior high school days. Then this patient is a retreatment. The patient is, I'm not confident for the smile. 24 years old male, this patient, 24 years male. Then this patient chief complaint is a gummy smile, want to change the smile. Initially, this patient smile like this. Then all the time patient is don't do that like big smile, because if do big smile is easy to showing for the gummy smile. Then patient normally is safe for the smiling, like just a little bit like this. Then we have to check how millimeter intrusion is better result for this patient. How many meters? Because this patient parents come to my office together. Then the parents ask to me, Kenji, my son want to change the smiling. If cannot do that, please say before orthodontic treatment. But my answer is, please check first. Take a X-ray, take a cone beam CT, and I have to check how millimeter root length and how millimeter is intrusion is possible or not. This is a cephalometrics data for this patient. My treatment plan is this: upper molars, just a little bit distalization, and intrusion upper anterior teeth with aligner with tart. Aligner with tart, okay? Then everybody don't understood how millimeter intrusion is better smiling for this patient. If only clean check, nobody understood what is good position for final situation for this patient. If only clean check, only tooth movement, never know. But if integration phase with clean check, everybody understood how millimeter intrusion is better smiling or not. So before I started for the tooth movement, I explained for this movie, I explained for the patient. My planning is this. I want to intrusion upper anterior teeth, Then sometimes I use mini screw, place on the mini screw with the aligners. Then that mini screw is support to the intrusion or your teeth. Then finally we can do is a solution for the gummy smile. Have a look. This patient is placed on the gummy smile like this. Then how we do elastic. So this article 2017 our team published on the JCO. My friend James Rins, Dr. Chen, Dr. Eric Liu, and my friend Dr. J. Bowman. So our team is published JCO article, interdisciplinary and aligner treatment of short face patient. If you have an interesting, please watch our team article. Then, this patient is the same approaching for this article. Place on the TAT here. Then, the elastic over the aligner, not directly tooth, over the aligner. Okay. Then support to the intrusion force, like this. This is like this over the aligner, not directly the tooth. Okay. Then during for the 20 hours per day, every day using elastic like this with TAT. Aligner is TAT is very fit, is better, and very simply approaching. Intrusion up anterior teeth like this. Final situation. Before and the final is a lower anterior teeth is already showing. After that, I explain for this patient before tooth movement. So if you want to more solution the gummy smile, I want to do crown lengthening. So this is using digital smile design tool. So take a cone beam CT diagram data and take a scanning procedures. Then we mix. This surgical guide is easy to checking how millimeter crown lengthening cut for the margin for the gum, and how to control for the bone cutting. This is how millimeter is the crown lengthening is better or not. Then I send to my periodontist, interdisciplinary doctors. Then this is end of the treatment for the aligner orthodontic with TAT, and after that crown lengthening. Then this is initial and the final situation for this patient. Is nowadays finally is a big smiling, but good for the gum showing, no gummy smiling, and the bite is better, and the class 1 relationship on the canine and the molars. This is for the cephalometrics data. Please have a look, check initial and the final. The molar relation is stable, then we control anterior retraction, anterior incisor, good for the intrusion. This is a final situation for this patient. Then my conclusion for this patient is sometime if you want more good for the control upper anterior teeth intrusion, using TAT is very effective. And if you want crown lengthening, at this time you can use for the digital smile design like this surgical sprint is more safety and more predictably approaching. Thank you.
That's great. Another wonderful result. You can just see in that smile how happy the patient was to have a new smile. Another wonderful, wonderful treatment result. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time to ask your burning questions to Dr. Kenji about his gummy smile treatments or any other questions you have about his philosophy, his orthodontic philosophy. So let's turn to the live chat questions we have. Our first question is from Anna Maria. Dr. Anna Maria says, is there another TAD in the palate? So
no.
You have a TAD in the front. Is there another TAD in the palate?
This is the only one. So how we can do is elastic is just a little bit cut for the lingual aspect for the aligners to cut. Then we use for the elastic rubber band over the liner, then for just a little bit like this, lingual side. Just cut, maybe 2 millimeters. Very simple.
Interesting. And is this a class 2 elastic?
No, so like this.
Oh, okay, I see. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Next, going on to Dr. Victor. Dr. Victor, welcome back. Dr. Victor says, hello again, doctors. Thank you for calling me doctor. I'm not a doctor. So nice to watch you. Kenji, did you use a TAD on the palate? Now, of course, Kenji just said, no, he did not use the TAD on the palate. If not, how did you engage the plastic over the aligner? With a 2 millimeter cut on the lingual side. Kenji, would you like to draw a picture?
Yeah. Now I dropping like this. Okay, just hold on. Can you see like this? Here cut, just a little bit cut here and cut here. Then this is a lingual aspect, right? Lingual side. Elastic over the liners. Okay?
Okay. So you're utilizing the gap between your between the teeth, making a 2 millimeter incision in two places on the lingual aspect, and then going from the TAD around to the back and attaching to those incisions. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Very easy to understand.
Yes.
Okay. Next, so we have several questions about the elastic attachment. I'm glad that we could answer with one answer. Next, our next unique question is from Dr. Adelia Sustano. Hello, Dr. Adelia. The question is, Dr. Kenji, for the Gummy Smile case, do you ask for overcorrection on the palatal root torque?
Very nice question. Adelia. Hello, Adelia. Very nice question. So that I usually additional for the overcorrection like this situation. I do maybe 1 millimeter, sometimes 1.5 millimeters. But if good for the smiling line, never use additional aligner. But if you need it, I do additional aligners, more overcorrection. That is very important thing. So that normally I do additional 1.0 or 1.5 millimeter additional overcorrection.
Great.
Same.
Thank you very much. So a bit of overcorrection. Excellent. Okay, our next unique question is from Dr. Tamara, who says, Konnichiwa, sensei.
Oh.
Thank you again for using Japanese. Makes us very happy.
Konnichiwa.
Dr. Tamara, during orthodontic treatment, do you experience the TAD loosening? Does the TAD loosen up during treatment?
Okay, so the very important thing is axis is very important thing. If place on the top is a not good axis, very easy to falling down, dropping down. But good for the axis is very stable. Now I lie down for the axis. If for the teeth here, then bone here, this is good. This is no. Can you see that? This is good. Then this is no. Okay?
I see.
The place on the top, this for the axis, very easy to falling down is the top. But this axis, very stable for the top. Okay?
Excellent. Okay, so having a top down, not bottom up. I see. Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Tamara. And then a second question from Dr. Tamara was, did the midline frenum affect the TAD?
Could you say again, please?
Yes. Did the midline frenum affect the TAD, the midline?
Yeah. This sometimes, yes. Sometimes, so we have to check is a position, and sometimes we have to additional surgery here, and same time place and top is a correct for the filter. It depends on.
Okay, great. And in this case, obviously, it did not. So Boom Gaming comes back with another question. Thank you for your wonderful questions, Boom Gaming. Boom Gaming asks, how many hours of elastic wear per day for intrusion?
This patient is 20 hours per day because this patient is a cheap complaint is a Gummy smile. This patient is 100% is a good compliance. Then I told to him, please use this elastic 20 hours per day is very, very effective. So like this situation, so please good education for the patient. So using elastic will be good smiling. So please do it. Then so the patient is a good compliance, a good result.
Okay. Thank you very much, Boom Gaming. So 20 hours. 20 hours seems like a very long time, but again, if you have a patient that has very good compliance, then these sort of amazing treatment results come into reach. I remember at the JAAO last year, Dr. Ravinanda said that looking at the Japanese case studies is unfair because Japanese aligner compliance is unbelievably high.
I think
Japanese
so.
compliance 90%, the rest of the world 40%. So yes, maybe this is another example of that. Okay, let's see. We have a question from Dr. Bayram again. So did incisor proclination occur during intrusion?
Yeah.
During intrusion, did it?
Yes. For the sometime is we have to lose control. Yes, because we have to check precisely because sometime is a root control. But so please remind my approaching this elastic not directly cover to the teeth, just for the cover to aligners. Only aligner intrusion support. If put on the bottom for the lingual aspect, then use elastic. Maybe upper teeth is like this. Okay, do you understood? If placed on the bottom here, then using for the elastic, maybe upper teeth easy to like this. But I do not put on the bottom directly tooth, only cut for the aligners. Do you understood? Then aligner intrusion support. This is totally different for the control. My idea like this situation, I never do put on the bottom directly tooth because that may be easy to lose the control. But this case is placed on the cut is on the aligner, never directly teeth. If placed on the teeth, the bottom may be easy to lose the control. So this is only my green check is no additional root control torque control.
All right. Excellent question, Bayram, and excellent answer, Kenji, as usual. Next question is from, once again, from Dr. Ahmed Karaman. Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed. Without TADs and only aligners, how much can we intrude the teeth?
It depends on the bone length and it depends on the situation, but maybe very nice situations. But like this patient, the specialty chief complaint is gummy smile. I do support additional TAD. But if you, without TAD, maybe very nice intrusion. 2 or 3 we can do. Depends on the bone situation like this. We have to check precisely anatomical data first, please.
Okay. Next, we have a question from Dr. Hussam Hassan. Dr. Hussam, thank you for joining us in the English language live. I saw that you joined the Japanese language live prior to this and you requested English. I'm glad you finally found us. Thank you so much. His question is, what is the insertion angle on the TAD? You showed us the picture, but do you have an average angle?
Yeah, this is normally, so like this is not for the 90 degree, just a little bit 45 is more safety. Just a little bit
45.
like
Excellent.
this 45 and 60 like this.
Okay. And Fiona comes back with another question. Dr. Fiona Go, which elastic did you use for this case?
I usually all the time not too strong one. So we have to check for the strength and just a little not too strong. If very strong one, easy to like this. Aligner is like this. Okay? So to keep the control is a very important thing. Very strong one like this. A patient is very difficult to use elastic and very easy to have a block to the aligners. So that we have to check which strength is better to this patient. So not for the routine work. Okay?
Excellent. Thank you very much, Fiona. Once again, we have another question from Dr. Delia. Did you do upper distalization in this case?
This case is very little, about less than 2 millimeters, yes.
Okay, did you do it simultaneously with intrusion, or did you do one before the other?
This case is simultaneous, not for the one by one.
Okay, great. Next, we have a question from Prismu Tawa Kudo Shika. We have a Japanese doctor joining us. Thank you, Dr. Kudo. Did you use enlargement of upper and lower arches in this intrusion to create space for retraction?
Yeah. So very important thing is arch coordination. Very important thing, arch coordination. So if you want for the upper and lower arch is a good arch coordination. So at this time is digital orthodontic is very strongly weapon, strongly support to our job, because if only plaster model very difficult to calculate is discrepancy how millimeter is needed IPR. But if we use for the digital orthodontic simulation, the name is green check, as you know. That is easy to checking how millimeter have to need IPR, how millimeter more distalization upper anterior teeth. So initial time we have to check is overjet is about 2 millimeters. But this patient is I do one refinement at this time, more just retraction upper anterior teeth.
All right. Thank you for your question, Dr. Kudo, and thank you for your answer, Dr. Kenji.
Arigato.
We have time for just a few more questions. Arigatou gozaimasu. Let's look at a question from a new participant, Dr. Yuan. Dr. Yuan asks, how long did you expect for 1 millimeter intrusion?
This is a time or aligners? This meaning?
Probably. Let's say aligners.
If for the aligner is one aligner 0.25 millimeters tooth movement is a maximum. This is all for the Invisalign user is the same. So the one aligner 0.25 millimeter, that means is 1 millimeter is we needed 4 aligners.
4 aligners, and with acceleration, that can be as few as 12 days, and without acceleration, that can be as many as 80 days, depending on whether you go with a 2-week or not 80 days, sorry, 28 and 28, 40, 56 days. So depends on whether you use acceleration or not. In this case, did you use some accelerated device? Okay.
This is a normally speed.
Okay, excellent. And man, we have so many questions today. This is wonderful. Let's see. So we have a question about elastics, 2 buttons lingually. Did you make, okay, so Dr. Ozan Sezen asks us, first says thanks a lot, and asks, did you make IPR when you want to intrude upper or lower anteriors?
So
or just as a finish?
IPR I do for the upper teeth. Upper teeth is finally is we want to collect for the overjet. Then I do so the upper teeth 1, 4, 2, 3.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Ozan, and thank you, Dr. Kenji. Let's go for 1 or 2 more people who have not had a question yet. Dr. Marianne Tanaka asks, the patient placing and removing the elastic on the TAD does not risk losing the TAD?
It's for the depends on the situation. So if for the good axis, it's very stable. It depends on the axis, and it depends on the procedures, and it depends on the position. The normally is this position is very safety, but if you don't want this position, place on the both sides, the between 1-2 and the 1-1, between 2-1 to 2-2.
Okay. And maybe take one or two more questions here. Next question. This is a treatment philosophy question from Dr. Abraham Escobedo. Dr. Abraham Escobedo says that he knows that the patient wants to improve the gummy smile, but in this particular case, don't you think the intrusion would be better in the inferior incisors because of the smile arch?
Yeah. So before we started tooth movement, so that we use for the digital smile design. Then the digital smile design is easy to communicate for the patient. So how millimeter intrusion, how millimeter alignment is a better smile for this patient. Then we discuss for the how millimeter control is better. Then patient and me decide on this goal is better. Then start it. So very nice question, but very important thing is the answer is all the time from patient.
Exactly. Whether or not a treatment is good is not the orthodontist's opinion, but in the end, the patient's opinion. So we have to respect their wishes. Let's take these last two questions before we cut off today. We started a little late, so we'll go a little bit later than usual. Our next question is from Dr. Saurabh Virdi, who says, could the precision cuts on the palatal aspect be requested on the ClinCheck?
No. So I do myself.
Okay, but can you request them of Align Technologies, or do you have to do the cuts yourself?
So if needed, I do for the cut it, but initial time I never place on mini screw. Initially, I use aligner only, but before the end, so that I want to more intrusion for the upper anterior teeth, then started for the place on the top, then cut for the palatal aspect.
Okay, and our final question today from Kanan Dental Surgery Pte LT Limited said, did you check the root inclination on the CBCT before you intrude?
Yes, of course, all the time. This is the routine work.
Okay. So what is your preference angle needed before you intrude?
It depends on the patient smiling, positioning, tooth size, everything, not for the routine work.
Okay, so really case by case.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, as usual, I think that many people in all aspects of their life are looking for a simple answer, but orthodontics, as in many things in life, requires a more nuanced answer, a case-by-case approach. You have to treat each patient like a brand new situation.
Exactly.
And if you don't, then maybe... Exactly. So, and if you don't, maybe you will end up making a mistake. All right, Kenji, another wonderful hour. Thank you so much for taking an hour out of your busy time to to show your cases and answer all of these wonderful questions. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being so active in the live chat. We covered 2 instead of 3 cases this time, and we spoke for more than an hour. You are what make this whole grand experiment possible. Thank you so much for enriching the video, helping us create beautiful content, and please continue to help us by hitting that like, hitting that subscribe button. If you have any friends anywhere in the world, in Europe, in Asia, in the Americas, that you think would enjoy the content that we create, please share our channel with them. We'd like to get as many friends as possible watching us live each episode. We're going to try to continue to release 2 episodes a week moving forward because we do have a viewership that wants to see our content. Dr. Kenji, would you like to say anything to everyone before we sign off?
So all the time is very thanks a lot for the many of the comments, for the many of the questions, and we are very exciting for the answer to your question. So that I'm very all the time is like this situation is a very, very dark time, but we are all the time connection, not for the single each person. We are all the time team. And now we are all over the world is a connection. Is that we have to take a good time like this situation. Then I want to say again for the very close to the day.
Yes, absolutely. As Kenji said, there is nothing more important right now than the human connections we make. We're spending a lot of time away from each other, so we need to create new spaces online in the digital world to make new connections. And thank you so much for being our friends. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you again real soon. Thank you so much for joining us. Kenji Ojima, YouTube Live International. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you again real soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.